Hi, I'm Teresa Bruce, and I am our school's parent mentor. So I have the privilege of working with parents and families that have students with disabilities. This is our third installment video on talking about the IEP document and actually the IEP meeting. Our very first video that we shared information on this was about the IEP meeting and actually who was sitting around your table. And actually the video right before this one, we started to look at the information that is inside that actual IEP document. So in an effort to make these videos really kind of short and quick so that you can watch them fast and then get on with the rest of your day, we are dividing this IEP document into two different videos. So today we're starting to look at the student supports. And so the previous video, we talked about the different aspects of the IEP document and what each of those sections meant and how to look for those sections. But when you're looking at the IEP document as a whole, I really feel like as a parent, this is the most important part of the document because to me, this is your child's lifeline inside of that classroom. This is what is going to make your child be successful in that classroom. So these student supports, you may have a few listed on there. I mean, these are individualized based on our children's needs and what supports they actually do need inside that classroom. So I was just going to read off a couple of my daughters. Back in the day, I don't think we even have textbooks anywhere now, but back in the day when she was in school, textbooks were usually given in class, but oftentimes, we didn't have enough textbooks to send a textbook home with every child. So we would always try to catch her up on stuff that she didn't get in class, or if she missed something in class, we would catch her up at home. So we needed a textbook at home. And so we actually wrote that in her IEP document so that she would be able to bring a textbook home, because lots of times, teachers would have a textbook and, they have a very few of those. So we just had that put in her documentation that she would have a textbook at home. One of the other things that we always did, and I think this was probably from the very beginning when she entered school, was extended time. So she always had extended time for tests, any kind of projects or anything that they were doing in class. She always had extended time so that she would have a little bit longer than her classmates. She could do the work. Again, she just needed that longer bit of time to be successful. Let me look through here. Another one was really having a peer partner to work on appropriate assignments was very beneficial to her. So even having that peer partner and that support in class. One of the things that because it's kind of funny when you stop and think about it, one of the amendments that I actually had to call an IEP meeting, and she had a class right after lunch. And the teacher, this was in high school, and the teacher, of course, and I totally get it from the teacher's point of view, if those students are coming right back in that classroom right after lunch, okay, kids, let's get in here and not ask them to go to the restroom. So I think it got to be such an issue with the teacher, she finally decided, if you come in after lunch and ask to use the restroom, then you're going to have to give me that time either before school or after school. You have to make it back. Well, of course, being such a rule follower, our daughter would never try to go against what the teacher was requesting, but she was so focused on the fact that she could not go to the restroom after lunch. Not that she would need to, but she was so focused on not being able to go to the restroom that it was beginning to interfere with her learning, and it was beginning to interfere with her success in that classroom because she was focusing on that and not able to really pay attention and focus on what was being discussed in the class. So this became a serious issue for us. So we called an IEP meeting together, and we very carefully worded a sentence in her IEP that if she did have to go to the restroom, she could go to the restroom without being penalized. And I brought the IEP document at home, showed her, the things that had been changed, went over that with her, and she knew what was in there. And from then on, we did not have a problem. So from then on, there was that anxiety of having to go to the restroom was abated. I mean, we didn't have any other further issues. And so sometimes it's just something like that even your student needs to know that's in here, just to give them that feeling of success that they can have in that classroom. So that was one of the things. There's just those instructional accommodations. Classroom testing accommodations will be listed. So maybe if they are getting some type of read aloud assistance or some type of reading during their testing periods, and maybe if they're taken out in a small group and tested in a small group instead of a big group. So that's those testing accommodations. Any other type of supplemental aids or services would be here, and any kind of supports for school personnel. Also on that same page, well, this is on my same page, it may not be yours, the assessment determination for district and statewide assessments for grades K through 12. This is how they're actually going to be participating in those district and statewide assessments. So this is where it will be if your student is on a GAA, you've often heard that, but the Georgia Alternate Assessment, this will be where that's determined. So whether they're going to be on a GAA or they're going to be on a regular Gen Ed diploma track. And then you'll have your specific testing accommodations, maybe for specific classes. One of the other things that you will see on here, and we're getting very close to the end of the IEP document, is just those instructional and related services in a general education classroom and early childhood setting. And this is basically how much and how they're being served with their supports. So if they're going to have supportive instructions in that classroom, which maybe is a teacher and maybe a parapro, or if they're going to have co-teaching, so maybe it's a general ed teacher and a special ed teacher. So that's going to be outlined within their document. And also the instruction or services outside of the general education classroom. And this could be something that for any reason that they may be pulled from their regular classroom, maybe for speech, maybe for OT services, maybe for some type of resource class, maybe a resource math, a resource reading. That's going to be spelled out there. Also, any other services that are considered, the instruction or services in a general ed classroom will be on there, like if it's supportive services, related services, maybe co-teaching, and also any kind of the outside services. Maybe it's hospital homebound, maybe it's residential, so maybe it's a separate school. So those things are going to be on there. And also at the very end is going to be this little section on extended school year. So, right now it's extended school year required, and that's yes or no. But that could go back and that could be amended if your student maybe was not progressing the way you thought they were needed to be progressive during that school year, then maybe extended school year is warranted. So just those are some of the things on those last few pages of the IEP document. So this will be a good time, where it's a good time to get out that document, look over that document, really go over that document with your student, make sure that student, if they don't come to their IEP meetings, make sure that they know what's in their IEP document, especially those school supports. And I just sat down with a family just a few weeks ago and actually talked with that mom and that dad and the student, and went over their IEP document, and we actually looked line by line, and we let that student become aware of their accommodations and those classroom supports that they should be getting. So it's always a great thing for your student to know those supports, so then they'll make sure that they're getting those, and then that should be making our students more successful in that classroom. So again, if you need a copy of your document, give me a call. I can get that for you. My name and my number on the screen. Just let me know how I can help you any way with that. And also just make sure you know who's sitting around that IEP table. Go back and watch that video if necessary. and just, with all these videos, communication. We've already done a communication video. It's very important to be communicating with your school. Touch base with that teacher, touch base with those instructors. So I hope you enjoyed this last little installment on the IEP document. Pull that document out and study up on that and look at those students' lifelines inside that classroom. Have a good day. Thank you.